y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Today is day 3 of my December daily space edition, Space Stories from my Christmas tree, and I'm going to be scrapping this story about the Cape Canaveral Lighthouse ornament that's on my tree. It's out at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. I've pulled this paper. It's by Jen Hadfield. The collection is called Flower Child, and this paper is called Far Out. Now, I thought it was the perfect paper for this ornament, considering it's a light, and lighthouses are all about shining light. I've got this tray of embellishments that I figured were perfect for this. I don't know why I cut this piece that says shine like the stars, but I have this star chipboard, these giant star chipboards. I believe they're from Vicky Booten. I've got just little tickets, a Saturn rocket sticker, some vintage seas embellishments, and then there you would have seen the trays of just glitter. I pulled this sheet of foam stickers because there's a couple sentiments on here that say ha 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 and LOL, which have to do with this story. And I've just pulled some coordinating paper to back my photo, and I'm going to go ahead and get started cutting down the photo and backing it, and then start placing everything around the photo that I pretty much want on there to help me tell this space story. So if you're new here, my name is Sophie, and this is Chi-Town Chica's Scrapping Space, where I record my work covering the space industry through scrapbooking and journaling. All month long, I am trying to post a video of these special space stories from my tree based on a piece I wrote a few years ago. I am right now dealing with a recurring back and nerve issue, so it's delaying the process here, but I'm determined to get 25 videos out this month. And yeah, we'll see how far we get. It might last into January. Yeah, stay tuned. But about this lighthouse. So the lighthouse, like I said, sits out at the Space Force Station. It's been there since, geez, I think 1894. I know there was an earlier version, and then this lighthouse was built and moved a couple times. I'm not sure on the entire history of it, but the early video you saw was the launch abort, ascend abort that NASA did for the Orion spacecraft. I attended it out in 2019. It's really cool. So basically they're testing the launch abort system for Orion just in case something happens during the launch. The astronauts will be able to get away from the rocket and land safely in the Atlantic Ocean. So the test went well from what we heard, and you would have seen in the video the spacecraft splash down right off the coast, and we were able to see it. So that was a really different launch event to cover. While I was out there, one of my fellow photographers, I was asking where the lighthouse was, because I've always wanted to tour the lighthouse. I don't get to go out to the Space Force Station, at least then, very often. So I asked him, you know, where was it? I'm sitting there with my binoculars trying to get a view. And he told me a funny story that is part of the press corps lore there and the lore of the Space Force Station. And I don't know how I never heard it. But apparently early on in the space program, a photographer pointed their camera at the lighthouse instead of the rocket. So when launch occurred, obviously they were seeing no action through their lens. And it's gone down in history as just a funny story that happened out at the Cape. Like I said, I don't know how I never heard this story. And I mean, you gotta admit, the rocket does look a lot like rockets. They're black and white, most of them. They do look a lot like that lighthouse. So a few days later, I was in an antique store, I think, or a thrift store, and they had a little Christmas tree set up with a bunch of little ornaments, and I saw this lighthouse, and I was like, oh, gee, that really looks like the lighthouse out here. And I flipped it over, and sure enough, as you saw on the bottom in the very beginning, it said Cape Canaveral Lighthouse. So I knew it had to come home with me and had to go on my tree and just serve as a story of this mission, because yeah, I got a good chuckle out of that, and so did everyone around me. Like I said, I don't know how I missed that story. I love hearing stories of what's gone on at the Cape. So at this point, I've tried a couple different variations. There's all these little pieces that I really want to get onto this layout. I didn't like the way it was going the first time around, so I removed everything, and I'm just playing around with these stars. I have a camera to kind of signify, you know, that photographer's goof. I've got the rocket on the page. I wanted to get this arrow because it looked like an arrow or sign that you would see on the beach. It doesn't make it on, but I do get that Coast Guard buoy on there because the lighthouse is active, and it helps the Coast Guard out there. So this little banner says catch of the day, which I saw and I just thought it was hilarious. Kind of a little play on the story and what happened. There's a tiny lighthouse there that looks a lot like the lighthouse, and I have a geotag just to kind of signify the location. It looks like I'm tucking in little tickets and stuff. You can take tours of the lighthouse, but I know that it has to be scheduled pretty well in advance and it's very limited. So like I said, I've never been able to do it. I really hope that I will in the near future. I keep telling my husband we need to make a non-launch trip out to the Cape and just do all those things that are around the Cape that are spacey that we haven't really had the chance to. So I'm really loving the way this is coming together. Stars are my favorite embellishment, as I'm sure you've noticed by now. So I'm just kind of placing as many stars around. I am going to go ahead and tape and glue everything down, and then you see my little sprinkle fingers there, I guess so you can call them. I'm deciding that I'm going to add some just like glitter stars around. I've added this gold trim to the bottom, some journaling just to tell the story, the LOL there. So that's this layout. I really hoped you enjoyed hearing this space story and hearing a little bit more about my work. If you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing so that you don't miss a single story here. And I'm going to leave you with some close-up videos of the layout. So I really hope everyone is having a great holiday season, and I will see you tomorrow for day 4. Bye, y'all.